Hi, all. My name is Jesse Kindig. This is my Eportfolio review. We're going to move through it quickly, just kind of hit on some key points, and then we should be able to get through all of this in a lot of time. So I have both professional and personal goals. Start personally. Personally, I just want to establish my family, where my wife and I have a brand new boy. He's about a year old. Thinking about maybe adding on. We want to make sure we're ready for those things. Want to be in a community that we love, that we feel safe in, that our kids we don't mind raising our kids in, um, and just be able to live the lifestyle that we want, that we were both raised doing. Some professional goals. Right now, I'm in no rush. I've kind of told my admin and coaches that I'm on a 3-year plan, so I'm going to continue teaching. Just went to the middle school to teach math. I'm going to continue coaching at the high school football, and for the next 3 years, I'm not making any moves before then. But after those 3 years, then my admin knows, okay, I'm ready to make those moves, hopefully, and if not, then we'll continue that timeline on. I don't want to jump in anything I'm not ready for, and I definitely want to be prepared for when that time comes. So those are just some professional and some personal goals that I have. Leadership philosophy. I'm not going to go too deep into the leadership philosophy, but basically what I believe in is to be an effective leader, you have to create leaders throughout your staff. You have to be able to delegate, and to do that, you have to allow opportunities for your staff to become leaders and find those leadership opportunities. And to do that, you have to open lines of communication, trust, and respect. If your staff has that and they believe they can open door policy, come and talk to you, they have your respect and they have your trust, it's game on. I think you can do just about anything you want to do. So I believe through leadership, you can look at it as almost like a servant leader, providing to others and allowing others to lead and not just you. Breaking down the program of study. Throughout here, you can see all the different classes, and when I did it, I just broke it down by year and when that year happened. But it basically broke down to 2 classes per semester, except for one fall I took off for football. But besides that, I did about 2 classes per semester, and that was about a perfect workload for me between having a brand new baby boy, moving out to Colorado from Kansas, and coaching football and teaching. I mean, that was plenty of workload. I thought that was about perfect. So resume, pretty basic. Again, I've only been, this is only my 5th year, so, and in only my second school district. So I received my bachelor's of science in elementary from Sterling, Kansas out there. Talked about some skills that I've acquired over the last 4 years. Added Delta County to my school district, and that was basically about all I've gotten to add to my resume since receiving this job. So let's jump into activities. We'll start with elementary. That was my main focus. That's because that's where I've been for the last 3 years. I did the 13 activities here. Really enjoyed this opportunity. I'm not going to go into too depth. I'm going to talk about one particular that I really enjoyed doing. And that's what this one right here, category 2, function 1. So I basically got to facilitate a learning-based program and then monitor it and prove whether it was worth. So we did a lot of data and over the last 3 years to see why our kids were struggling going into the middle school, focused on math. And the one complaint and one piece of data that showed over and over is our kids just did not know their math facts. We didn't have any data to really prove it, but just talking to the teachers up there at the middle school and just knowing our kids, we knew like they don't know their math facts, man. They're still using their fingers. And so we implemented a new reflex math, and I got to do it for all of 5th grade. So I basically got to pilot the program. I collected data. This is a picture of a progress monitor for just one of the 3 5th grade classes. They did it 30 minutes a day. I collected data on it. It showed growth and achievement and benchmark points. Brought that every Friday to my admin, and we talked about it, whether we thought it was working or if we need to do it more, or if we need to do it less, or and different things like that. So that was a ton of hours that I got to log, but at the end of it, we had a goal of 85% of our kids, and we got it. We got like 89% this year went to the middle school knowing their math facts, and we could track it and prove it with this data. And it sounds like the district is now going to mandate it through all elementaries. They're going to buy the program and implement it in all elementary schools. So really cool moment for us there. And just working through it, I had all 13. Lot of fun things I got to do there. I got to work with community members. I got to work with staff. I got to run PD days. I got to talk to PTOs. I got to talk to the school board. I got to be part of all different types of um, committees and things like that. It was really cool. Moving on to the district now. The district was a lot of data stuff. They needed a lot of data collected and a lot of presenting information to the school board. So I'll talk about one particular here. Me and about 3 other teachers in the district got to sit in on an entire professional development day where all school administration and school board members were working on creating a new vision for the district. And we decided on educating the whole child. We're having a change in clientele. Our population and students and our community is changing drastically. And so we're no longer just dealing with academics. We're dealing with social and emotional behavior and the success skills that we need our kids to be ready for. Our graduation rate is still high, but then what's happening is our dropout rate in college is high. So we got to figure out what we're not doing to prepare those kids for college. So we sat in on a great meeting. I got to talk to the superintendent. Not a lot of people in school districts as a teacher get to say they do that in a small group setting for a big chunk of time. It was a really great opportunity, and now I'm aware of where we're heading in the future as a district, and I felt like I got to take part in that. And then collecting some data, I got to build a survey with some other teachers for a committee to help support staff, school board meetings, capturing kids' hearts initiatives, where it's just been all these different cool things we got to do. And lastly, the secondary. Not a lot of time spent in that building, but what was nice is I teach football or coach football up there. So it wasn't completely weird walking up to the high school. It wasn't a foreign place to me. A lot of what I focused on for secondary activities was ethics. A lot of ethical dilemmas happening up there, and so I thought, what a great opportunity to spend a lot of time talking about how they address ethics and all the different things that fall into that. The other thing I really got to do there that I focused on, I chose purposefully, was I chose to do the budget and focus on the budget up there. I got to meet on a regular basis. I only chose a few times in January to do it, I believe, and but I chose that because there's so many things going on, so many sports, so many after-school activities, so many different things that they're doing there. I wanted to see what that budget looked like. Not that elementaries don't have a lot going on, but but that secondary budget's pretty intense, and I wanted to see what that looked like. The other thing we really focused on is I got to go to it's called it's SEW community, so it's Safety, Education, and Wellness Coalition program. It's built by like 6 people in the community to help address. We've had 3 or 4 students commit suicide in the district, and as a small district and a small community, it was severe. It was crazy to see all that stuff. So we realized that our kids were needing something else, and so this community came together and had multiple meetings. I only went to one, but I got to go and be part of this community to see how they're going to help our children and address this issue and give support to the kids that need it. And so this was really cool. They had their own MTSS I got to take a part of, but it was focused more on like attendance and grades, leadership philosophies, and how to create leadership within a school that struggles with leadership. Got to take part in one of the clubs and help them at the high school to promote diversity and equality and diversity, and that's their whole job, So a lot of cool opportunities there. We'll come back up to the bibliography now. The bibliography, I really focused on finding articles that would help me as a first-year teacher. That was the main theme. I wanted to know. I didn't want to be blindsided by ideas or events that first-year principals might not be prepared for. I do feel that this course has really talked about the main issues, but every once in a while we know there's things that happen that we can't prepare for. And so getting the points of view from these principals was really kind of cool to see their point of view, like, hey man, be ready for this. I focused on like 5 categories. So I focused on tips from principals, what to be prepared for, communication, parent involvement, leadership, and then I just kind of looked up random articles that I thought might benefit me moving on into that admin. hurdles, what to face, what things you might face that you might not understand, how to communicate with parents, things like that. And these all really helped me. Really love to compare. I looked up 2 articles on leadership, one on through the business eye and one through education, and compared them. And I really thought there were some interesting comparisons there. They look very familiar, very similar, just through the different eye and how you can do both those things. So this was a really great thing. I will keep these in mind. I have a bookmarked, and I've also have this to when that day comes where I want to make that move. I'll have these articles to refer back to. Okay, looking at the reflection. The reflection through the exploration, I had my doubts, just like I'm sure everyone did, coming into this thing. The big doubts I had, or the big concerns, or the big questions I had coming into this was, will I be ready? I mean, when I started this program, I'd only been teaching for 2 years. So is it even worth going into? Even if I get out of this, I'm not going to have the experience. And the one thing that I really was concerned about is just the time. I have a brand new family. Am I willing to sacrifice the time and miss some of these things with my family to become an administrator, which we know happen. It's a more time consuming job. So those were some of the preconceived notions I had about this. Looking at this and after working through it, I realize that all administrators come in different variations. They come in different sizes. They come in different ages, different experiences. If you were born to do it, you were born to do it, and then you can do it. There's no A lot of districts have cutoffs where they're looking for certain experience. Ours do not. If you're a leader and you're ready and you have your masters and you're prepared to make this jump and they love what you do, they'll take you, and that's a lot of them. And if you can, their thing is they want to see leadership before you get there. They want to see you become a leader as you're in your group and as you're in your staff. Can you do things that they want to see done in a smaller setting that they can say, hey, yeah, this guy or this girl can do this in a much larger setting. I loved observing the high school principal. He was all about organization. He had $2 that play softball, never missed a single softball tournament, never missed a single softball match because he was organized and he had great leadership. He had a great support staff. So they just took turns. He's like, I got a baseball game tonight. Can you run this? Yep. And they were very organized. There was no confusion. There was always people where they needed to be. So you can miss a lot of time if you're not organized. But I also learned if you're organized and you're dialed in, you don't have to sacrifice as much time from your family and your personal life as a lot of principals do. I'll just read a quick first sentence. When I'm looking at the exploration and the explanation, I came up with one conjunction, and that was an administrator need to build a culture of trust, communication, and mindset that revolves around what is best for kids. So after looking at everything, I realized I got to build a community, and it's got to be based around trust, communication, and then most of all, what's best for kids. And doing so, kind of back to my leadership philosophy, you have to open up lines of communication. You have to open up lines of trust. Your staff has to know you're there for them, not for you, not to better yourself, because ultimately you're one, and there can be 50 of them in your building. You have to support your staff through and through. And once they've built your trust with your staff, open door policy through communication, and you can then create a culture based around what is best for kids. And I realize that's something that a lot of schools need. And mine has, but not all in my district do. As a future administrator, it'll be my job to ensure that instruction is data-driven and standards-based throughout the school. And that's a big push that's happening right now in our school. And it talked about all the different things that's going to happen, but back to what is best for kids. And data-driven, supportive stuff and standards-based instruction is all based on that. So then I have my activity log here. I have I believe it's 160 some odd hours. So I'm over the 150 hours, logged all those with all the different categories throughout here. I have my administration evaluation tool, faculty evaluation tool, and then comp exam coming up shortly. So this is my ePortfolio summary and kind of covered all the different areas that needed to be covered. I really enjoyed this and I appreciate your time. Thank you.